Hi, it's Heather. Um, I am up in the front garden. I wanted to show you some of the native perennials and vines I've been experimenting with. Um, so, you know, if you live in Indiana, you're probably familiar with Virginia creeper. Um, I I really like this. Some people do get contact dermatitis from it. It's not in the same family as poison ivy. It's its own thing, but I get it. I always used to think that people were, pulling it when it was in with poison ivy, but I guess you can get skin irritation from it. But this is something that shows up in many gardens, and people tend to throw it out because, you know, it's a weed. But I was at a garden tour and I did see Virginia creeper, Virginia creeper on an arbor, and thought it was really worth experimenting with. And so here's the deal. This is the first year this type 2 clematis here. This is called bourbon. It's always flowered well, but it's always had wilt. And so I let, one year I was pretty sure the clematis was going to be a goner, so I let the Virginia creeper come up and really liked how it looked. But then the clematis came back as well, and it has not had wilt this year. So, whether, the Virginia creeper is giving it just enough protection, or, I don't know, maybe we just had just the right moisture this year. But it's worked out. So I like it there. I've also kind of been using it as a ground cover. Um, it's very easy to just pinch back where you don't want it. Um, but if you're working a bed and you're like, I don't know what to put there, or maybe you hit your budget. Virginia creeper looks really good with a variety of plants, and I've been kind of happy with it. Um, and I'll say this: there are several really cool uh, moths. Some of our fancier moths use Virginia creeper as their only host plant. So I think it's worth keeping around just for that. Let me show you. I'm going to go around the other way to show you this next plant. Um, Indiana is home to many kinds of native asters, and I think people might think I'm a little crazy for keeping this one. Um, but the common name on this is Calico Aster. And I suppose this one I could probably pinch a little bit to get a little tighter, compact growth. But, a lot of people don't like it because it does tend to look weedy. There are certain plants it really just does not look good with. And so that's been my experiment, is trying to figure out what plants does it look good with, so that we can make places for it in the garden. Because, let's face it, just about everyone in Indiana gets this coming up in their yards somewhere. But the main reason, besides, free plants are fun, is when this guy blooms in the fall, it blooms so profusely. It just gets these little tiny pincushion white flowers, which will be loaded with every kind of bee, wasp, pollinator that you can think of. Um, throughout the growing season, I'm always like, why the heck do I keep this guy? But every fall, I'm so amazed when this guy blooms. I just have to sit down right next to it and watch. The bees are just so thrilled it's there. So, another one that it wasn't so much an experiment as I had to figure out what it was. It was like, sometimes something will show up and you're like, wow, I know I should know what this is and blah blah blah, but then you forget, and so it stays there, and you keep going, oh yeah, I gotta look that up. But it occurred to me several weeks ago that this guy looked like some kind of lobelia. And I have lobelia syphilitica in the backyard in the mess. And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's some of that. And because it's really easy to track the seeds around. So 2 days later, it bloomed. And then I knew what it was. Focus. So this is what we used to call Indian tobacco. I don't know if they've come up with a new name for this. We could call it First Peoples tobacco. Or you could use the scientific name, which is Lobelia inflata or inflata. And there's usually a L after that. Anyway, so this is another great native plant. I have a feeling this one is a little sentimental for me because I picked it up. I used to take care of my friend's garden, and she died a couple years ago, like almost 2 years. And this had shown up in her wild places, and it was really cute, so we left it. So anyway, it's like a really good reason why it's good to know what things are before we pull them out, because you never know. You could have an orchid, you could have another cool kind of aster or lobelia. I'm trying to think, what else do we have here that is kind of an experiment? Oh, okay, so I did mention that I was doing an experiment with the red flowered raspberry. This guy is like a space hog. So this is a start, because my original thought was when the parent plant down at the end of the bed in the corner, when it got so big, I was like, man, I'm gonna have to cut this down and we'll save a start. But the birds have just loved it so much that I think that's gonna stay. And I did work on getting some invasive stuff out of the way. Oh, see this aster, I think this, with the right plants, I think this guy really could be a keeper in a lot of places. That grass up at the front here, that's one of the panic grasses. I think they tend to just kind of grow up and then they flap out a little bit, so their seeds can disperse. But it's a really cool grass. So, and with this viburnum, I think this is, really can be an attractive plant to keep. But anyway, the birds have just been all about these raspberries, and I did make some progress. This is still a mess. I did get rid of, I had one more barberry to get rid of and a Japanese spirea that was taking up a lot of real estate back in here. So I think we can make a trellis for the raspberry because it's been really fun watching the birds. Trying to think. This is a nice, we've got several of these blooming. I grew these all from seed. It's a geranium maculatum. They're native in Indiana, and I'm trying to think if we have any in bloom right now. This is a really good blue flowering plant for our pollinators that like blue flowers. And let me say hi to this guy. Hello. The bees are all moving a little slow. I know a couple weeks ago we did a video on helping trees beat the heat. And it's actually, we did have a good rain since then. And it's quite a bit cooler. So we're still not out of the water stress. But anyway, so here we have, these are woodland petunias. These are great plants to have to share with your friends because these guys will seed themselves and you'll have lots of little babies, and that's super fun. So, and they're also native here in Indiana. Yeah, and they work really well with a wide variety of other perennials. So, you know, if you like coreopsis, I've got this with some lamb's ear and echinacea and some other like New England asters. Really like that. But anyway, so just a thought on, you know, when you're weeding, if you run across a plant that you don't know what it is, try and find a good, you know, whether it's on Facebook, like your state might have a nature page. Indiana has a really wonderful nature page called Indiana Nature on Facebook. And it's a wonderful forum to post pictures of plants and insects and snakes and all sorts of stuff that if you don't know what it is, those people can really help you. But other states have these too. So anyway, just, you know, you may find that there's, oh yeah, here's another plant I've been experimenting with, a couple of them. So this guy, I should show you the other one. These guys are just a titch dry. This is charming wood sedge. A lot of people, like, you know, if you have a weed lawn, you'll see them show up. But I think they can be just a wonderful architectural plant with other shade-loving plants. Up front there, that probably gets a little too much sun for it to be truly happy. These guys, I just moved here this spring, and they look really nice. So they look great with hostas. I've also got some ferns in here with it. So that's another, oh yeah. This is, I think, a geum that's native in Indiana. I decided, you know, these guys get the cutest little flowers, and also this is probably a little bit too much sun for them. A little happier over here. But they get the cutest flowers. The only thing with these guys, if you don't want to mess with deadheading, I wouldn't put them right on a path. They do get stick-type fruit, which means, you know, your pets or you are gonna carry those seeds around on your clothing. So there's that one, and let's see if I can get the camera to focus on these guys. These guys also got a little dry after I transplanted them, but this stuff is called Path Rush. It's obviously a rush. Rushes are round. A lot of people have these on their property somewhere, and they are one of my favorite little grassy plants in Indiana. And so I've been moving those around. I do have places where I've moved them and they're looking lush and lovely. These guys got planted a couple weeks ago, so they're still kind of But anyway, so just a few things I've been experimenting with, and things that I think are worth leaving in the garden, and letting our native insects and all that jazz use. So anyway, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.